How is it going, everyone? I hope everybody had a great holiday. I hope you're ringing in the new year in a big way. I know a lot of you guys are off from school, work, so hopefully if you do have some time off, you enjoy the rest of your days off. I know a lot of people are going back next Monday, but with that being said, what better way to ring in the new year than blowing some hard-earned cash? And with this video, I'm going to be looking at some PlayStation Store game deals that are on more expensive games. So we did our, under $20 videos or under $10 videos. With the new year, it's about respecting the ballers out there, and if you can afford some more expensive games, I got some good options for you. But no, seriously, I do like to, every now and again, take a look at some of the more expensive titles. Got 15 games here. These range from, $25 all the way to like 40 bucks. So with that being said, let's get right into it, and let's start off with the most expensive game in this video, Ninja Gaiden 4, 30% off for $49. I think at some point people are gonna get absolutely sick of me glazing this game, but I know that chances are this game didn't do incredibly strong numbers commercially. I know it's hard to gauge that with the game being available on Game Pass, but nonetheless, this game is an awesome action title. I totally get why some people would be against spending $50 or so on the game, but man, if you are looking for something that's a quality action game, I think Ninja Gaiden 4 is outstanding, and it's not super difficult in the standard difficulty. After you beat the game, you get the Master Ninja difficulty, which that'll add a level of challenge, but I just had a great time with this game, and yeah, narratively, it's not amazing. That's the one criticism that the game gets, but the narrative is fine, and again, who is buying Ninja Gaiden for the narrative? I don't know who these people are, but if you are, maybe you'll be a little bit disappointed, but the gameplay in Ninja Gaiden is where it's at, and it makes you feel like a badass. The soundtrack is reminiscent of like Metal Gear Rising. It is so good, and for $49, yes, it's pricey, but this is gonna be one of those games that it's not like I'm gonna do force playthroughs right off the bat, but probably once a year, once every other year, I'll go back and I'll play this game just because I had such a great time with it, and I feel like you'll get your mileage that way. And some people might beat the game and they might go for the Platinum Trophy, try to do the Master Ninja playthrough off the rip. I have not tried the game on Master Ninja difficulty yet just because there were so many games coming out, but love my playthrough of this, had a great time with it. Next up, we've got Palworld, $22.49 on this one. This is kind of settling at that price point as far as a discounted price goes, but I do think it would be a very, very smart move to pick it up right now because in 2026, the game will be coming out of early access, and with it coming out of early access, chances are the price point will go up. Palworld is a really solid game that you're not going to take it too seriously. It's not like this game has an incredible narrative or anything. It's really about the survival crafting elements, but I think that's pretty well done, and that's not a genre I'm super into, but when you add all the creatures and whatnot, I do feel like it adds another layer that made the game fairly accessible to me. $22.49, I think that's a pretty good deal, so definitely would recommend that. Next up, we got Red Dead Redemption 1, which did just get its PlayStation 5 upgrade. We're waiting on a Red Dead 2 PlayStation 5 upgrade, hopefully sooner rather than later, but RDR 1 is still a classic. I did a playthrough of this, I want to say a year or so ago, and obviously I've played Red Dead 1 several times. It's a phenomenal game, and I think one of the greatest games of all time. I just think Red Dead 1 doesn't get a lot of attention these days as much because I do think Red Dead 2 is a better game when you're talking about 8 years in between games. The scale and the level of scope to Red Dead 2 is just outpacing Red Dead 1 by a large degree, but Red Dead 1 still has a really strong narrative. The gameplay is great. The Undead Nightmare expansion is solid, and for $25, I do think this is a really good pickup, so definitely would recommend that. Next up, we got the Kingdom Hearts all-in-one package, 60% off for $39.99. The amount of content you get here is kind of crazy. You can't really say it's all-in-one because you don't get the Remind DLC, but you do get Kingdom Hearts 1, you do get Kingdom Hearts Raid Chain of Memories, you do get Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, you get Kingdom Hearts 2, you get Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance, you get Fragmentary Passage, which is a smaller game, and you get Kingdom Hearts 3. Kingdom Hearts 3 is quite mid, but the rest of the content, there's a lot of good stuff there, especially games like KH2, Birth by Sleep. Kingdom Hearts 1, I played through it like a year and a half ago, and I will say, that game is super dated. I like the game in the sense that, dude, it was a part of my childhood, but oh my god, that game is so dated. Hopefully we'll hear more about Kingdom Hearts 4 sooner rather than later, but we'll see how that turns out. $39.99 for the Kingdom Hearts all-in-one package. Next up, we have Persona 3 Reload, $23.99 on this. I really enjoyed Persona 3 Reload. It is a ground-up remake of Persona 3. However, it stays true to the original, and I will say the Tartarus isn't my favorite thing in the world. I'm not big on the Tartarus, but the story is really good. I think thematically, it just is very an impactful game that I didn't really comprehend the narrative of this game in terms of the themes it was tackling when I was a kid. Like, this game came out, I want to say Persona 3 FES came out back in 2007, so I was a wee lad back then, so playing through this game again in 2024 gave me a much greater appreciation of it, and the thematics and the story of the game, the friendship, so to speak. You know, it's an enjoyable game. It has, you know, its fair share of comedy and cringe to it, but you're not escaping that with a Persona title, and it works well given the context of the game. $24 on that, I think, is quite good. Alright, let's run through a couple Souls-like games back to back. First, Berserker Khazan is 30% off for $42. This is a game that has just held up in price. I really dug First Berserker Khazan. I did play it on easy mode. I'm just gonna reiterate that because you know what? With all the clowning that goes on these days, I feel like I've been one of the more vocal people about games having easy modes, and I did appreciate First Berserker Khazan's easy mode because the reason I wanted to play this game is because of its slick art style. I think this is one of the most gorgeous games of 2025, not from the standpoint of it's pushing the technical boundaries, but because the art style is so great. The soundtrack is excellent, the combat is great, got a good bit of content here as well, and for $42, it's certainly on the pricier side. I usually try to stay under $40, but this is one that a lot of these Souls-like games do hold up in price. We'll go to another one in a second, but yeah, 42 bucks on that. Lies of P, speaking of games holding up in price, 50% off for $29.99. Now, back in August, this was a PlayStation Plus Essential title, so many of you guys have the game via that, and if you do, that was one of the best offerings in 2025, but if you don't, $29.99 for what is generally considered to be the best non-From Software Souls-like game. That's from everybody that I talk to that's hardcore into Souls-like games, Lies of P seems to be the one that they gravitate to the most. And for me, what I like out of my Souls-like games is the atmosphere, is the aesthetics, and Lies of P, given the resemblance it's gonna have to a Bloodborne, which I would say is my favorite From Soft title, you know, outside of Armored Core 6, I would probably put Armored Core 6 above all the Souls-like games, but nonetheless, Lies of P is gonna be something that was up my alley. They also added an easy difficulty to this game as well. I feel like narratively and thematically, this is also a great time, and they did put out the expansion in Overture, and that was really well received. Unfortunately, if you want the Lies of P Overture bundle, you are spending $58.49. So yes, it is quite pricey, but I'll let you decide if you want to pick that up. And then we do have Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Oh, would you look at that? A game from 7 years ago. Yes, now that we're in 2026, we can say that 2019 games are 7 years old. It is still $30, which is insane, and I don't think it's gonna get cheaper because Dark Souls 3 still regularly goes for $30. But Sekiro is a brutally difficult game, focusing more so on parrying, but yeah, if you go into it playing it like Dark Souls, you're gonna get absolutely annihilated, but it's a quality game in its own right. I wish it would get a full-on upgrade on PlayStation 5. Maybe they'll do it at some point, but this is a game that was published by Activision, so, you know, they would have to figure out the licensing agreements and things of that nature, and it would be more so an Activision decision, I would imagine, so hopefully they can figure that out, but yeah, great game, and for $29.99, good deal there. Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection, the arcade classics. You got a lot of great titles here, some of the all-time classics when you're talking about fighting games, obviously helmed by Marvel vs. Capcom 2. You got Marvel vs. Capcom 1 in there, and a bunch of other fighting titles in there as well. X-Men Children of the Atom is there, Marvel Superheroes, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Superheroes, MVC2, and you've got the Punisher in there, all that for $25. Great stuff there. Then we do have the aforementioned Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon, 50% off for $29.99. I loved Armored Core 6, but as you guys know, I am into gigantic robot mayhem. You know, I think mecha titles, they deserve more love. I think mechs could be kind of a pillar of video games in terms of, dude, who doesn't want to see gigantic robots clash in like all-out mayhem? I just feel like it's an easy sell, and I was so happy that From Software decided to go back to Armored Core, and I thought they did a great job with Armored Core 6. For $29.99, I think it's a pretty good pickup. Now, a big aspect of this game is the trial and error and customizability and figuring out what parts work best in each individual mission, and I think a part of that is the charm of the game. So if you go online and you look up a guide, I do think that dilutes some of it, but your boy's playing Elden Ring pretty much with his handheld right now. So am I the one to be criticizing people using a guide? Absolutely not. I just feel like a core of Armored Core 6 is the trial and error process, but maybe some people would argue Elden Ring, oh, you gotta search for everything yourself. That's the beauty of the game. And you know what? Yeah, if you don't care about the beauty of the game and you just want to create some carnage in a gigantic robot, yeah, brother, look up guides all day. Next up, we got Triangle Strategy, 60% off for $24. A strategy, a JRPG that goes under the radar from Square Enix. This was done in the style of Octopath Traveler, and it's behind the same team, HD 2D style. I thought it was really well done. The narrative is fine. I thought it was pretty decent, and the gameplay, I think, is really, really well done. This was initially a Nintendo Switch exclusive, never got a physical release either, so it did come out to little fanfare on PlayStation, but I would say still check it out. It's a worthwhile playthrough. Octopath Traveler 2, 60% off for $24. I know Octopath Traveler 0 just came out, and I have that downloaded. I'm gonna get through it at some point. I just got bullied into doing a playthrough of Elden Ring by my buddies, so like a lot of games took the back burner, but I do plan on going through Octopath Traveler 0 before Trails Beyond the Horizon comes out. Nevertheless, back to Octopath Traveler 2, 60% off for $24. Great turn-based JRPG. There's a lot of talk about the lack of turn-based JRPGs from Square Enix, dudes. You gotta check out Octopath Traveler. The games are great from a narrative standpoint, the characters are great, the soundtrack is awesome, and the HD 2D aesthetic I feel is fantastic, so certainly check that out. Unicorn Overlord is 65% off for $21. This is available on PlayStation Plus Extra, but yeah, this is a fantastic JRPG done by an incredibly talented team in Vanillaware. I wouldn't put it narratively at the level of Vanillaware's last title in 13 Sentinels, but it's still pretty darn good. Tactics gameplay is great, visual style is awesome. Story's a bit predictable, but that's fine. I feel like JRPG stories these days, if you've played a lot of them, you know, they're gonna sometimes be a little predictable. In execution, I feel like this was pretty good. $21, good deal on that. Next up, we got Attack on Titan 2 Final Battle, 50% off for $29.99. Now, this game is obviously for fans of Attack on Titan. If you're not a fan, you know, you could still have fun with it, but I don't think you'll get the most out of it. I feel like most anime games, it goes without saying. Like, I played One Piece Odyssey while not being a One Piece fan and enjoyed that, but you're gonna have an enhanced experience with Attack on Titan 2 Final Battle if you're a fan. The only thing this game is missing, I feel like it's a really good realization of like the Attack on Titan 2 essence in video game form, which you would think would be difficult to do with, you know, how that show is designed with the maneuver gear and things like that, but they do a pretty good job in this game. If they had the soundtrack from the anime, chef's kiss, this game would be automatic, like a fantastic and easy recommendation. You know, you might want to mute the game and just pull up the soundtrack of Attack on Titan and have it on the background. I feel like you'll enjoy it more that way. But nonetheless, $29.99 on that, and that does give you the Final Battle upgrade. By the way, this game physically is like really expensive, so digitally is your best bet, even if you look at that $30 price tag and are like, whoa, that's expensive. It's like, I want to say the physical copy is like $60, so yeah, keep that in mind. And then NieR Replicant is 60% off for $24, a remake of the original NieR title. NieR got a lot of popularity when NieR Automata came out, so it was good that they went back and they remade the first game, and I think it's really well done. I don't think it's as good as Automata, especially not from a gameplay standpoint, but visually, narratively, soundtrack, ooh, how can you not mention the soundtrack? The soundtrack in NieR is so good. Maybe the best soundtrack of a Square Enix JRPG series. Is that too much? Is that too much? Let me know. But man, this game's got so many good tracks, as does Automata. But that'll do it for me. Again, a lot of great deals available right now. Links to all of them in the description box below. And as I mentioned, Happy New Year to you all, and hopefully in 2026 we'll be covering some more great deals. And like I've been saying, I think this year looks absolutely incredible for new games. Wolverine, GTA, Soros, Phantom Blade Zero, Legend of Heroes Trails Beyond the Horizon. You know, your boy's excited for all of that, but a lot to cover. That'll do it for me. Your thoughts down below. Sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.